everybody, and welcome to week 4 of distance learning. Last week we took a trip around the world, but this week we're going to bring it right on back here to home. Welcome to the music of America. So before we get into some patriotic music, let's define the word genre. A genre is a category of artistic, musical, or literary composition characterized by a particular style, form, or content. Basically what that means is that country music is country music because it has a particular style, form, and content to it. We know rap music is rap music because of the same reasons. We can identify magazines from newspapers, and we know the difference between romantic comedies and actions when it comes to movies because they each have their own particular style, form, or content. Can you name these 5 musical genres of America based on their pictures? How about on their soundscapes? Each one of these pictures will have its own soundscape coming up right now. So how do we define American music? How do we know what makes patriotic music different from, say, rock and roll? Or are they that different? Can rock and roll still be considered a patriotic form of music? It's a really interesting question. So I went to the Library of Congress's website and I looked up their definition of patriotic music. And that is this. Patriotic songs are the songs that have now become a part of the American national heritage. A combination of hymns, national songs, music of the theater, radio and television, military themes, and poetry. All this music demonstrates that while over history many things have changed, this expression of pride and hope remain a constant part of the American experience. So shortly, yes, rock and roll is patriotic music because it is something that uniquely represents us as Americans. Our time today is going to be spent with specific songs about our country, like God Bless America, and This Land Is Your Land, and The Star-Spangled Banner. All these songs are considered to be specifically national songs and fall under that big umbrella genre of patriotic music. Patriotic songs are songs that encourage feelings of honor for the country's history and for national unity. It includes all the different subgenres of hymns, military themes, national songs, and patriotic music that comes from stage, film, poetry, and even the radio. And those sort of patriotic songs express pride in one's country. So patriotic music is the really big umbrella, and there are some other smaller umbrellas of patriotic music. We'll talk about them next. National songs are part of the category of patriotic music. They're songs that are often historical, written during times of war or revolution, like Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony. Or they are performed for ceremonial occasions, for example, like at the Olympics or to open sporting events where we would perform our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? And they are intended to express our pride in our country and our feelings of unity. Another one that is kind of an unofficial anthem of America is America the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. So those are some examples of some historical national songs. We have 2 last ideas to explore in our discussion of patriotic music and what defines patriotic music. The first is that of roots or folk music. Many folk tunes have their origins in people's homeland. They might have a similar tune or a style or a form to it, but they are uniquely American. They're native to America. The ideas were developed in America. They were created because of America. And those simple folk tunes and those simple ways of singing and creating music and making music have later developed into jazz, blues, soul, R&B, and rock and roll. One such example of a folk tune is This Land Is Your Land. It is one of the United States' most famous folk songs. It was written by Woody Guthrie in 1940 as he hitchhiked from Los Angeles, California to New York City, New York. At the end of the book, which is coming up, you'll learn a little bit more about Woody Guthrie's history and how he came to write about such American things as the landscape and as what the country offers to those who live here. The song never made it into the top 40, but has remained an unofficial ode to the possibility and hope of the American landscape and people. This week's Book of the Week is This Land Is Your Land, words and music by Woody Guthrie and paintings by Kathy Jacobson. This land is your land. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. I've roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. When the sun came shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and on the sign it said no trespassing. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. That side was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. In the shadow of the steeple, I saw my people. By the relief office, I seen my people. As they stood there hungry, I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me? This land is your land. This land is my land, from California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can ever make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. So here's a little bit of Woody Guthrie and a little bit of his story. Some really neat quotes here in the book at the end. My eyes has been my camera, taking pictures of the world, and my songs has been my messages that I tried to scatter across the backsides and along the steps of the fire escapes and on the windowsills and through the dark halls. And another quote over here from the other page. A song don't have to be as old as the hills to be good, true, or honest. The true songs that tell the true battle of our people to get better and better conditions everywhere are as good, hot or cold, new or old, just so's they're honest. And a final quote from Woody at the bottom of the page as he's holding his guitar. Lots of songs I make up when I'm laughing and celebrating make folks cry. And songs I make up when I'm feeling down and out make people laugh. These two upside down feelings has got to be in any song to make it take a hold and last. So Woody Guthrie, he was born in 1912 in Oklahoma, and after a series of really tragic events in his life and the Great Depression, he ended up living in California in some migrant, very crowded camps. Their homes were these tents, small rooms pieced together, and there weren't really a whole lot of jobs enough for people who had migrated out to California to even have. There weren't enough jobs for everybody. But in the process of moving, he got to see parts of the country that millions of people never do. And a lot of his words of this song were inspired by those travels across the country. In California, things got better for Woody, and he got a job singing on the radio. And his shows and personality and self-taught guitar playing made him very popular in the work camps. And he often wrote songs about working hard and the travels and the hardships of life. So that's a little bit about Woody, and he died in 1967. He'd written more than 1,000 songs, including the classics Deportee, Pastures of Plenty, and Roll on Columbia. He wrote 2 novels based on his life and had told hundreds of stories through radio programs and through his songs and through books and TV interviews. And because he always spoke out for people of all colors and races, especially the poor, he inspired many musicians to do the same. And a final quote I will leave you with Woody. Stick up for what you know is right, Woody wrote. This land was made for you and me. Let's sing the refrain in verse 1 of This Land is Your Land together. The original song has 6 verses, but we're only going to sing 1 today. The tune is exactly the same, so all you have to do is sing along with me or read the words on your screen. Here we go. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Back to the refrain. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I hope you enjoyed the reading of the book. It has the same words I just sang, and it has some beautiful watercolor pictures. Thanks for joining me for another week of Musical Moments with Mrs. Reader.